couldn't think, or couldn't sleep, so didn't do video. I'm gonna call this one Full Circle. It's just a Bobby philosophy, that things go in cycles. Okay, especially when you don't learn from the past, you make the same mistake again and again forever. Yeah. And this is going to be kind of a funny story because I just had this flashback not too long ago. When they made me president, one of the things they do is they sit you down and they literally tell you basically all the secrets of every religion ever. And believe it or not, as much as I hate these people who literally worship the devil, eat women's brains, and eat babies, there are other baby-eating religions out there. There's other blood-drinking religions out there. There's other violent, stupid religions, and they are violent, stupid religions. As much as we all want to pretend that human sacrifice and shit's a thing of the past, there are active religions that practice abducting people and sacrificing them. I would argue probably criminal insanity comes from religion. I would argue serial killers are extremely mentally unwell, and that comes from religion. They have to kill to commit human sacrifices. So I make the argument that they are extremely mentally unwell. Now, one of the things that came up when I was president, and they were going over every religion. There are other religions that rape babies. I'm just going to be clear on that. These people all sat me down and started talking to me about every religion in existence, and I had to learn every religion in existence in like a short amount of time. So needless to say, because I'm slow, because I'm autistic or whatever, I probably didn't learn all the ones that well, but I did learn the ones I absolutely hated. And as I'm learning all these religions, dude, there was a thing between this church and a baby exchange program and another church that ate this church's babies. They ate this church's babies, and then they wanted to trade their babies for those babies when I was president. That's not a joke. That's an actual thing that happened. There was an agreement to share babies to be eaten between religions. So if a Christian or a Catholic or any of these people ever tell you they're pro-life, they're not. Okay, they're perfectly okay with eating babies. This shit, gets pretty fucking wild, because as I'm president, they start telling me about all these other religions, and I drift off into a stupor. They start talking about exchanging babies to eat babies, and all this gross stuff when I'm president. And I'm high on drugs, I'm poisoned with heavy metals, and I'm extremely mentally ill. Yeah. And I believe I'm that guy that originally started this church. I'm not even me, I'm that guy. So I'm that guy making decisions as me. It's really convoluted and stupid because you shouldn't do drugs and lead. I didn't want to do drugs. So these people who do this shit because whatever fucking reason, I say in the original Bible, God spends the first part of the Bible wiping out tribes he doesn't like. And when I say that, I kind of leaned back in my chair, did one of these, and I looked off into space, and the wives that were out there froze, and they were like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, in the original Bible, God wipes out, he literally spends the first part of the Bible wiping out tribes of people he does not like. And I told them, there's this thing, it's the world serpent, it's the serpent eating its own tail, meaning everything comes full circle. And then they told me, they had me believing, because I was high on drugs, that I was God. Right? So I go, it's time that we have come full circle, and it's time to start purging the world of religion. I was like, we are going to begin by wiping these people out. And I was talking about wholesale genocide. Yeah. The wives froze, looked at me in horror, and everybody looked at me in horror, and they were like, you literally want to change your attention from growing the church, building the church, to just straight up murdering, who exactly? Specifically Nazis and pedophiles. And the wives were like appalled, like they were like shocked. I remember the looks on their faces. They could not say, I believe I said I wanted to kill Nazis and pedophiles, which was the focus of the church. It was kind of funny because I ended up getting this Nazi friend, and I'm not saying you should be friends with Nazis, but we just talked about Hellsinger Bridge because I told him to watch Hellsinger Bridge. He was probably like, I just wanted somebody to talk to out there. I hated everything they made me do out there. I didn't want to do anything outside of go home. But, yeah, so, things going in circles. I suggested to them it was time to start over and wipe every... Dude, I'm just gonna be clear on this. When I say that stupid shit, if God came back, if Jesus came back, he would tell people to go to a designated location that he was gonna wipe out. Like, he would know, you gotta think he's omnipotent, he already knows who he's gonna take and who he's not gonna take. This stupid shit that Christians are like, the Jews are the fake Jews and we're the real Jews, and he's going to take us, but not those Jews, and the Jews are like, oh, they're going to resurrect our kosher people, and they're going to march them over this thing onto the stone, and I think the Muslims, they believe something like... My theory is, once again, Thanos snap. You're going to be on that platform and you're going to be gone, and then he's going to be like, yeah, I have to do this. You guys remember reading the Bible? The thing about the Bible is... If you think about it like a loop, like a book, like a loop, it never ends. It just goes to the end of that thing, and then it starts over. Okay? And I remembered this logic. It seemed so pure and so sound to me that everybody in the room was completely uncomfortable by my logic that I was God, and it was time to restart the Bible and wipe out every other religion on the planet. Including the one I was a part of, I was leading at the time, expressing that religion needed to go through an evolution and update and become more coercive to the immediate environment, and human sacrifices and all that stupid shit needed to end. And the wives hated that. They got really upset. They got so upset. As I explained that, like, whatever, I was like, I told them, I was like, at some point the Bible repeats itself. Like, that's just how it be, you know. That's human nature. That's the curse of being a human being. But yeah. One of the other things I remember now, I don't remember why this was, but that Kevin and David guy and good old Blondie, which I think his name is Danielle. I'm not sure on that. It might be Matt, but I think it's Danielle. Fucking... That dickhead, Blondie, fucking, whatever the fuck his name is, told me to get good at game theory. And it's kind of weird because Mr. Beast released a show that is basically about game theory, but it was on like Amazon Prime and Netflix, so I didn't have access to it because I'm poor. But this happened when I was struggling with the court shit, and there was a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was doing news, and he literally did an entire episode basically instructing me on how to handle the court stuff because I didn't have a lawyer at the time. And I was supposed to do this thing, but his news was on HBO, and I had to pay for it, and I didn't have the money to pay for it. You might go, Bobby, that's not funny. That's funny. Because that's what poverty looks like. And this is what happens when you deal with desensitized rich people. They're like, I'll just do this thing and he'll watch it. No, I don't have the money for that. I don't know why they were telling me to study game theory, because I told them, I do remember them poking my brains, and I ran down a series of Bobby theories about how the world worked, and they just kept looking at me in disgust. They absolutely hated every theory I had. Even down to how people function, they absolutely hated it, and they started getting pissed. But my shining moment ever was when I was talking to Blondie, and he was like, basically, because he can't recognize his flaws, he has none, because he doesn't have introspective. So because in his brain, in his reality, his objective reality, because he can't evaluate himself or his actions, he is superior because he has no self-awareness. He doesn't know when he fucks up. He doesn't know when he's doing right or when he's doing wrong because he has no evaluation for what he's doing. And I just started laughing, and I was like, okay, cover your, I was like, basically, what color is that wall over there? And he was like, white. And I was like, good, cover your eyes. And he's okay. I was like, what color is that wall over there? And he froze, and then he was like, white. And I was like, good. And then he was like, what was that about? And I was, the wall's still white. And he's, no, what was that about? I was, the wall's still white. I was, just because you yourself don't recognize your own flaws doesn't mean they don't exist. Okay. When I read the emotionally stunted paper and you feel a sense of pride when you hear it, you should feel a sense of humiliation. You should feel a sense of embarrassment. Okay. Blondie doesn't feel that. He probably hears that and he's like, oh God, it's me or worse. It's a projection. I'm not the emotionally stunted one. You're the emotionally stunted one. I wanted to also cover this other spiritual shit where one of the dudes was doing some spiritual shit and explaining to me he can put his wife's soul into his new wife's body, and he gets his old wife with a new body, and it's her, and you're a child. You're believing poop. Okay? You're believing poop. When I tell you that I met video game characters during their acid trips out there in the desert, I met video game characters. I got to walk right into the water temple and meet Link from Ocarina of Time in person. Okay, I got to have sex with Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider in person. Okay, I had sex with Hannah from Fable 2 while I was high on LSD in person. That is how you know this shit is made up, when you can do shit like that, okay? So what you're seeing is your own brain's memory of that person, and that's the thing when you can't let go. You end up doing weird amalgamation shit like that, when it's just best to let it go. But this dude had a problem with me because I did a bunch of bad things when I was president. Okay, yeah. Their dipshit leader did use my body because I was under hypnosis believing I was somebody else to do a bunch of bad things. And we got into the argument because he wanted to hold me to account for what this other guy did while explaining to me that he firmly believed that you could put somebody else's soul in somebody else's body. I was like, to which I replied, if I am somebody else, then I am not that person. Okay, so you want to go off on me for something another person did. I was like, if your wife was possessed by a demon and she punched you, would you retaliate against her, or would you accept that was the demon and not your wife? And the dude froze, and he was like, you're not my wife. I hate you. And I was, okay. And this happened many times, talking to different members, and I did. I did bad things out there. Like, I wished I didn't. Like, a big chunk kind of wish the church paid me the $4 billion they owed me, because I would probably let these people sue me in a legal court battle with a lawyer and all that shit, and I'd make sure they were taken care of because I would want to take responsibility for what I did had I had the money to do that. Okay. Asterisk. Money. And yeah. So these people don't really follow their own logic a whole lot. I really didn't watch. I watched like 3 videos ever on game theory, and it just didn't interest me. I don't know what the obsession with it about it was. I kind of missed the Squid Game's obsession with game theory. And like, maybe I should have looked into that better, because I remember fucking Blondie trying to explain to me, once you understand game theory, it's like the keys to the universe. And he told that to a guy whose brain was quickly degrading with heavy metals, that was struggling with comprehension, couldn't remember his name. I forgot the password to my email and my fucking bank account. That's how far gone I was. And these people kept wanting me to do smart things while they made me stupid. And I'm gonna finish this video with this. I might do an entire video on this after this. I don't know. I really want these videos to be more coherent. Yeah, you know what? Just for the coherence sake, I think I'm just gonna cut this video here.